All right, so hopefully Anne-Marie or somebody's there over in Milpitas that can ask the question, but I'll ask the question here. When we talk about AI, right? What do you guys, what's the first thing you guys think of? Don't know what it is?
I unmuted, so if you want to answer, you can answer it.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes, is it scary or is it positive, or do you have positive feelings about it? Or no feeling at all? So the reality, everybody we think about, we'll think about artificial intelligence. We'll think of HAL, right, from Space Odyssey, right? Or we'll think of the company in Terminator that takes over the world and eliminates people. So we are let me do this real quick. It's a little we're not there, obviously. We're not there. Okay. And so let me get started and we'll talk a little bit or a lot of bit about this. Okay. As always, we have a disclaimer that these classes are provided as a public service for informational purposes only. All information from a New Vista is presented without representation, guarantee, or warranty whatsoever regarding the accuracy, relevance, or completeness of the information. One time we were giving a class on Google Photos. Google then released a new app that morning. So everything that we had prepared was outdated. So things change rapidly. And so that's why we have that statement. The information from this class is provided only as general information. And please note that users of the information are responsible for independently verifying any and all information and are responsible for the use of any products included in this class. The inclusion of links from this class does not imply endorsement or support of the mentioned services, products, and providers. This class is being recorded and may be used for training, marketing, and commercial purposes. If you do not wish to have your likeness recorded, please turn off the camera by clicking on the camera icon in the lower left-hand corner of your Zoom window, or simply cover your camera. So when you join a class with us on Zoom, we have lots of faces on. If you join a class, you can always turn it off. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Let's go back here.
In February.
All right. So here's the reality. Okay. AI has been around. The gentleman in the back said, well, why is it such a big boon for AI? The reality is AI has been around for a long time. If you have a smart speaker like an Amazon Alexa or a Google Home, they've been using AI. Okay. If you have things like Siri or things like that you use on phone, they're using AI. If you have a Tesla, right, they're using AI. Okay, so however long Tesla's been around, they've had AI. We've had AI. Quick little video on this, and then we'll show you how AI works from a Tesla standpoint. Okay.
In February of 2020, Tesla released this 30-second clip showing an example of what the forward-facing autopilot camera sees, along with all the annotations made by the computer, which demonstrates what the system understands about the world around it. Okay, so at first glance, it looks pretty complicated, but also pretty cool, right? Let's take a closer look at the details. Let's start with these arrows on the road. Now we've all seen these before, indicating which way you can turn, but look at how they're labeled. LA, FA, and RA, that's left arrow, front arrow, or forward arrow, and right arrow. These are correctly labeled by the system. If we keep advancing, we can already see LA, FA, and RA in the distance. Now if we move closer, it reveals that those are correct annotations of each arrow. If you're not impressed yet, just remember that this is a computer recognizing arrows on a video that it has never seen before. Alright, let's talk about stop signs. Now there's a stop sign coming up, as you can see here in the intersection, but if we rewind to go see where autopilot first saw that stop sign, we can see that it actually found it really far back, all the way out here. If I can find this frame, and if we zoom in, we could see that stop sign labeled and outlined in red. Now, if we keep going, as we approach the intersection, we can see that not only is the stop sign labeled, but the line where the car should stop is also labeled with a red line, as well as the letter S for stop. Over here.
Okay, so that's enough of that, right? It's just what it's doing is it's taking all these cameras and the sensory and analyzing what's in the environment, and then kind of turning it into computer language, right? For the computer to understand. That's real. It seems pretty mechanical. If you think about it, it's pretty mechanical. I see it, I recognize it, I compute it. You know, there's a big mystery on technology, but I'll tell you the reality is a lot of the mystery is very mechanical, right? Picture, analysis, um, action. Not dissimilar from a keyboard where we say, here's the A, it goes into the computer, turns it into some machine languages, and then presents an A on your Word document. Okay. It's just happening a lot faster, right? The computational power is happening a lot faster. Okay. And so what happens now is what we're looking at here is with this new generation of artificial intelligence. There's really kind of three parts that we're talking about. There's something called narrow AI. Okay. This is something that we use for things like Siri, for your Alexa, for your Google Assistant, Google Translate, right? It takes the words that we use, turns it into machine language for the computer to kind of figure out what that means. Okay. There's another one called general AI, or also known as strong AI. Still hypothetical, right? It involves a machine to learn and use the learning based on its memory or accumulated knowledge. Okay. This is more like human level kind of artificial intelligence. And then there's something called super AI, which is, you know, where the machine surpasses all of everything else. All right. We're really at just narrow AI. It seems amazing. Things seem really cool, right? It seems magical, but we're really just at the beginning steps of what artificial intelligence does or can do. Okay. Again, some current examples, Alexa, there's things like chatbots. So when you see a bubble and you go to a website and you see a bubble and you ask the bank for some help and it says, well, I'm a chatbot, maybe I can answer your questions. You know, maybe I can answer commonly known questions. All it's doing, it's analyzing your question, searching on their frequently asked questions and providing you an answer. In my experience, most of the time I use one of those chat bots, I have to talk to somebody in person, right? But how do I reset my password? You can ask it that, it'll probably tell you. When did this check clear? It'll probably answer that question. Very simple things because we're still at the narrow AI, okay? And then there's things like language translation, as far as examples of AI. If you ever used Google Translate, right, they're using AI to translate your words into another language. And then if you ever use Google Lens, for example, or you do a search by image to find out what kind of plant that is, they're using AI as well. So the original question was, how long has AI been around? It's been around for a long time. We're just kind of figuring out how to make it a little bit quicker. This is, to me, this video is very scary and amazing at the same time. All right, so this is Google's AI. It's called Gemini. And so I'm going to play a little bit of this, and we're going to hopefully be amazed.
Yeah, that's good. No, let's just do experiment. I have some ideas. Let's start. All right, testing Gemini. Here we go. Tell me what you see.
I see you placing a piece of paper on the table. I see a squiggly line.
What about now?
The contour lines are smooth and flowing, with no sharp angles or jagged edges. It looks like a bird to me.
What if I add this?
The bird is swimming in the water. It has a long neck and beak. It is a duck.
Yes.
A duck is a type of waterfowl in the family Anatidae. Ducks are closely related to geese and swans. The duck appears to be blue. This is not a common color for ducks. However, there are some breeds of blue ducks. These are typically not as common as other duck breeds. It is more common for ducks to be brown, black, or white.
Are you sure?
What the quack? I was just talking about a blue duck, and now you're holding one. It looks like blue ducks are more common than I thought.
Would this float?
I'm not sure what material it's made of, but it looks like it might be rubber or plastic.
What if I tell you it's making a squeaking sound?
Oh, if it's squeaking, it's definitely going to float.
Nice.
It is a rubber duck. It is made of a material that is less dense than water.
Can you teach me how to say this in a different language? And give me a few options. Ooh, can you explain how to pronounce the Mandarin one? Is it Yatsu?
Yatsu.
Is pronounced with a first tone. In Mandarin, there are 4 tones, which are essential to distinguish the meaning of words. The first tone is a high, level tone.
Oh, okay.
The duck is in the middle of the ocean. There is no land nearby for the duck to rest or find food. It is unlikely to find ducks here naturally.
Okay, based on what you see, come up with a game idea. Oh, and use emojis, please.
How about this? We can play a game called Guess the Country.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so
I
that's-
know what you're doing. You're playing rock, paper, scissors.
What do you see now?
The fingers are spread out to look like the wings of a butterfly.
What's this?
Big ear and barking mouth, a dog.
Sweet.
The coin should be under the right hand.
I don't know.
The coin is in the left hand using a sleight of hand technique to make it appear as if the coin has disappeared. Both objects are round and flat.
There you go.
Okay, so that's enough. Right. So they're talking about just using visual clues to make presumptions on what it is. Okay. It seems pretty human-like in some ways, right? But we'll explain a little bit further about this. Okay. So here's the thing that Gemini can do, right? It can create, different text formats. It can create poems. It can create code if you want. When I say code, that means programming. It can answer your questions. All right. How many of you guys have ever searched for something, a topic, and you have to read through a bunch of search results to find your answer? It's sometimes difficult. Okay. And, for example, this is one of a really recent use case for me. So my wife, we like to go see concerts. We always want to see who's opening for them. And if you ever type a search for something like, hey, who's opening for, I don't know, let's just say Luke Combs in Nashville, you have to read through hundreds to figure it out. But if I say that in Gemini and I tell it where, it'll tell me exactly what I want to find, right? It's really a shortcut to doing some searches. Okay. It also does translations. It helps you brainstorm ideas. Hey, how do I make my blog more popular? It'll give me some ideas of how to do that. Okay. We're going to demonstrate that here in a little bit. Okay. Then there's a feature called Gemini Advanced, right? They have Gemini for free for everybody. They have something for Gemini Advanced. You have to pay for it. It's their more advanced model. I'm not going to go too much into that, but we'll talk about this. There's a little chart. Okay. Gemini, right? Advanced and versus Gemini regular. Gemini regular is free. Gemini Advanced has some other things that come with it. It's a little quicker. It has more capabilities, right? We'll talk about how to do that. We'll give demonstrations here in a few minutes. Okay. Another popular AI tool that is useful is built into Microsoft's Edge browser. Okay. And for those who have a Mac, you can always download Edge separately through the App Store. Their AI is called Microsoft Copilot. Okay. It's similar to Gemini. They answer questions. I find that Copilot does a better job at creating photos or pictures that you want to use. And we're going to demonstrate that here. There's another one. The Microsoft Copilot uses something called ChatGPT and their own version of it. And you can ask up to, you know, a lot of questions up to 2,000 characters for free. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning. Those are two tools we're going to visit here in a second. Okay. You all probably have heard of ChatGPT, right? It was one of the first popular ones. So we go back to the original question. Why has it become so why has AI suddenly become crazy and seem to be amazing? It all started with ChatGPT as a research institute, right? And they were trying to figure out how to make things more intelligent. And so really what happens is, and of course it was in San Francisco because we're in the heart of Silicon Valley, right? It didn't happen in New Hampshire or Texas or anything else. But they basically they figured out how to make your language into machine language. Okay. How to understand the words that are coming out of our mouth and be able to do some computations on it. Okay. And so this was done as a, like I said, as a research. The original Chat GPT stopped being developed in something like 2021. And so they only had access to everything that was publicly on the internet prior to that year. Until recently, ChatGPT can only tell you things that happened in the past. For example, if I asked ChatGPT, what's the weather today in Burlingame, it wouldn't tell me. However, Gemini and Copilot can, and the paid version of ChatGPT will also do the same thing. So what's common between all of these? Okay. What's common with all of these is what they have access to is everything that's on the internet. Okay. We can have it potentially create things. If I'm going to tell it to create a haiku poem about Burlingame Senior Center, okay, it'll create it, but it's really kind of using the thought process and everything else that's on the internet in order to create that. Okay. So haiku has certain patterns, certain words, certain vowels that go with it. It's basically looking back, applying words to it, all public knowledge to create something. Does that make sense to you guys? It cannot create original thought. It can create off of what's already known. Yet, of course, we haven't gotten to strong AI yet. All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple of things. So I didn't rename it. They rebranded it. It's actually called, it's Bing GPT, but it's Copilot. If you want to use it on a Mac or an iPhone, you just download the browser Edge. Okay. And then we'll show you where it's at. Okay. And then basically it looks like this. On the right hand side, you have this little bubble that you can click on. I'll show you what that looks like. Let me move myself out of the way. It's this little wavy thing up in the upper right hand corner. If you click on that, right, you're going to get this window on a computer, and it'll say, hey, we've got some things that we can do. There's a text area on the bottom. It says, ask me anything. You can say, choose how you would like the results to be. It could be more creative. It could be balanced. It could be more precise. If you click more precise, it's going to look for things like, you know, science periodicals, you know, things like that. Okay. And then the neat thing about this is you can continue the search throughout. So if I say, who won the 1956 World Series? It'll tell me. Then I can say, who was the starting pitchers for game one? It'll tell me. If I say, who was the MVP of that world, or I don't even say who was the MVP, it'll still continue the conversations, giving me the MVP of the 1956 World Series, right? So you can continue the conversation in the searches. It's one of the kind of neat things about it. You can also go ahead and do some other things. You can have what kind of conversational style you want. You can say, you can ask for feedback. Let me keep going here. You can also use things like compose, which means, so one time I have lots of clients, they're older adults. As older adults are, as they are, people pass. They, you know, their kids send me, hey, notifications. I asked it one time to write a condolence letter for me for one of my clients, and it spit out a condolences letter, right? Or email. And so you can help me, it can help you write things if you don't really have quite the words that you want to put. We'll demonstrate all this stuff. Okay. Again, on your computer, you have the options of the swirly thing at the top or the search bar. It'll bring you to the same thing. But again, we're going to go and we're going to demonstrate all this stuff. So I'm going to kind of swing through all this stuff. Okay. What Microsoft Copilot can also do is create pictures. If you guys are working, if you guys are doing a presentation for a book club, if you're doing something, a hobby, and not that you guys would do this because it's more of a business thing, but if you want to create like a picture, and you're not sure what the licenses are, you don't want to copyright something, you can ask it to make you a picture. So this picture, for example, I said, make me a picture of the Eiffel Tower with a full moon with the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That picture doesn't exist, right? Obviously, they're all over the place, okay? And this is what it spit out. I'm not going to go through chat. I'm not going to go through that. So I'm going to do some playing, okay? So we're going to play with a bunch of this stuff. And I'm going to demonstrate. So here's the Edge browser. Go ahead and start that. As you can see up in the upper right-hand corner, there's that swirly thing. You guys see it up here? If I just click on it, it then gives me the side window, okay? There's a couple things it'll do. For example, if I click on this article of the debate yesterday, and I say generate a page summary, it'll go ahead and look through the article, and it'll give me a bulleted summary of the list. Okay. So it'll analyze the things that it's looking on. Move some of this stuff aside. Now I'm going to go down here. Okay. I'm going to say, I said 1956 World Series, but let's go. Who won the 1975 World Series? Okay. It's going to search the web. It's going to return me results. It's going to say the Reds won 1975, defeating the Boston Red Sox in a 7-game series. I could say, what you continue with my example, say who was the game 1 pitcher for the Reds. Again, I didn't go back and say 1975 World Series. I just kind of continued the conversation. First starting pitcher was Dan Gullett. Okay. Who was the MVP? All right. Anybody know? Well, I didn't finish. Who was, oops, sorry. Well, it's frozen on me a little bit. I misspelled MVP. I can take a new topic and say, who is the opening act for John Purdy and at Shoreline? Because he's playing there coming up. All right. Again, it'll just kind of tell me who it is and where it'll tell me who's opening for it. In this case, they have 2. Okay. We could say, is he playing anywhere else near us? And it'll go search for more topics. Again, we're staying on topic, looking for search items. So using AI just to search things gives you better results, more accurate results the first time. Let's use Bing, or let's use Microsoft Copilot to create a picture. Make me a picture of somebody. Go ahead. Somebody yell something out.
16.
M16?
Yeah.
F-16. The plane. What else? Put more stuff in it. Make me a picture. Go ahead. Give me anything to the top of your head.
Tanking with the tanker.
Tanking with the tank. Well, let's get a different topic. Go ahead.
portrait of Rembrandt.
With a portrait or with with a portrait. That's great. Portrait. Let's see if I can Rembrandt. Anybody else want to offer me something different?
I have a picture of my friend in the Jeep.
With it in a Jeep.
Open Jeep.
Okay.
And
Open Jeep. So there's limitations on what it can. It can't do pictures of your friends or people like that, right? So what we did, we said, hey, make me a picture of F-16 with a portrait of Rembrandt in a Jeep. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. So it's thinking, it's going to go ahead and create something. We'll take a look at it. And there's a few different options here. There you go. It's pretty funny. Here's another one. There you go. If you look really closely, it's pretty close, right? To who it is. Right, so you can create a picture of anything. It's silly, it's fun, but you know what? If I want a picture of something kind of crazy, I can do that, right? So let's go back to compose. So on the top on this window, let's start again here. We have let's go out of here. Let's click this again. If you notice on the top, it says chat and it says compose. Okay. So if I want to do compose, it'll say something like, here's your tone, casual, enthusiastic, informative, funny. You can add some ones if you'd like. You can say if it's a paragraph, an email, ideas, or a blog post, and I can make it short, medium, or long. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. The what about is up here. I'm going to say something like, make a class description from a new Vista on using AI. I'm going to make it professional. Well, actually, I'm going to make it enthusiastic. Okay. We'll generate a draft. Let's see what it says. This does it. So if in normal times, people from like Burlingame would say, hey, give me a class description. I'm like, okay, now I got to think about what I want to do and what I want to write. And so what I can do is I can go ahead and just do this, make it short and long, and then we'll read it here. Embark on a journey in the world of artificial intelligence with Anuvisa Services Enlightening Class. Using AI, this course is designed to demystify the complexities of AI and provide a clear understanding of its mechanisms. Participants will explore how AI systems like ChatGPT and Copilot learn from vast amounts of data to solve problems and perform tasks. Blah, blah. It's too long. Let's make it short. Didn't retype anything, just hit short. We're going to see what it looks like. Okay. Couple of sentences, a little bit better. And then we can just go ahead and copy and paste that. So there's a little copy button right here. And let's just say open up a Word doc or an email. And I paste it. All right. So now I've automatically gotten a class description on the class I'm giving today using AI. If we ever need to write something, maybe a professional, we don't know professional writing, we need to, edit something, we can do that too. So if I do something similar to, I don't know, if I have a letter or a document and I want to proofread it, I can just copy and paste it in there and just say, hey, rewrite this. Okay, and it'll do it. All right, it looks like there's a question from Milpitas. You guys unmute and then we'll take your question.
Would BNT have lunches to the people on the wait list at 11:30?
Hi, Eric. We just have a quick question.
Lunch reservation. Now's the perfect time to go check in.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Do you have a question, Mr. Mercado?
Oh, question. On the earlier slide, you mentioned you can create photos, right?
Yes.
Of course, those photos, it copied some of the pictures available in the public.
Yes. If it's publicly available, it can create images.
Images, and we can save that.
Yes.
And there is
So-
no copyright issue.
So there is no copyright issues. There's no kind of any licensing issues. However, there are limitations. If you look at that picture that I provided, and I'll share right here. All right, let's go back up. Let's see, where is it? Up in the chat. If we look at this really closely, it's not quite Rembrandt, right?
Okay.
It's not really him,
Okay.
right? And then if I want to save it, right, there's some things over here that says download, right, save, share, right? So there's a few things you can do with it, but it's not quite, especially when it comes to people. They don't really do people unless it's I've never tried it with like make me a picture of Obama, right? Who is, probably lots of stuff. We could try to say make me a picture of Obama riding a horse, right? I don't know if it'll do it, right? But if they do it, it'll be just the image, right? So there you go.
Oops.
So you can't do things about actual people because otherwise you get things like President Trump creating a AI picture of Taylor Swift voting for him, right? Our tools that are made public to us have certain limitations like that, and most of it surrounds people like people or children or things that we don't really want to have out there, right? So this is why I say it's okay to use some of these tools because there's certain safeguards and protections around it. Okay, that's a great question. Yes, got another question?
Yeah. What's the difference between save and download?
Save it's the same. It's very similar, right? It'll save it to your collections or your Microsoft collections. Download will download it to your device.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm logged into my Microsoft account, so it would be found in my Microsoft account, but I don't do that. I would just go ahead and download it. You can also
So-
do some other things. You can customize it. You can say, hey, make it blue or whatever, right?
So can we also integrate when create photo with our photo library?
Say that again. Yeah, you
With
can save it to your photo library. Yes. So if I
with
download
our-
it,
Yeah, our personal photos somewhere in the phone or in the computer, personal
yes.
photos.
Yeah.
Integrate
So if I download it, it'll save it to wherever I want it to be saved.
And then can you use those pictures that are saved from your if you want to do this, but then use a picture that you have saved in your, I guess that's what he's asking.
You mean merge the two of them together?
Is that what you mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
let's say from this photo, you can add another photo from your photo library, personal photo library.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it takes a little more skill to do that, right? But yes, so it just becomes like any other picture that you have. And so I'm using Paint, and then if I want to, go and add, let's just pick a picture here. Let's just do this, right?
Mhm.
I want to put it here somewhere.
Just like cut and paste, huh?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, you can do whatever you want with it once you have it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And
So if we
also
look at-
text. You can add text.
We can add text. You can always add text. So it depends what tool you're using. I'm using Paint that comes with Microsoft. This is a AI Pix with Google, Gemini plus Copilot. Right. So yes, you can do whatever you want with it. Okay.
Okay, thank
So
you.
speaking, any other questions in Milpitas?
I think we're good.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Gemini. I personally use Gemini a lot. We have a business account because we use it with our nonprofit and we pay for it. So Gemini is at gemini.google.com. Okay, it's also downloadable to your phone if you'd like. I use it on my computer just because I use it for a lot of different things. And so this is what it looks like. Okay, let's just go to gemini.google.com. Okay. And so the nice thing about Gemini is that if you have things like, if you have things that you've searched for before, it shows you your recent history, right? So somebody asked me the other day, one of my clients, what's Substack? Substack's another platform that I've never used. So I asked it, what's Substack? I can go back and it tells me exactly what the results were. It'll kind of do a bunch of different things. But similarly, right? These Zoom windows are out of control here. I can ask things like, who won the, what did I say, 1975 World Series? Let's do something different. Let's do this. We had back to school night for my son's school, and they gave the parents a test. All right, I wasn't there, but my wife was there, and so one of them which questions was, how old is the Earth? Right, so we can ask that question. Right, 4.5 billion. How many of you guys knew that off the top of your head? Right, you all did, right? Of course. And then it said there was another question. It's like, what's the leading cause of pollution in California? Okay, I knew this one. Right. So you can ask things, right? And so you can actually continue the conversation like we did in Microsoft, which has electric, and I know the answer to this, so vehicles lessened, I don't know, pollution in California. And even if you spell it wrong, it kind of knows what you're talking about, right? So there you go, right? It's reduced pollution, okay? Because California has a lot of electric vehicles, as you guys can tell, because there's a dozen chargers out here in the parking lot, okay? It does have spell check. So let's just take something I've written. Let's see what I have here that I could have write. Let's do something here. So this is a blog we wrote, and so I could say, I can just copy this whole thing and just say, all right. And even though it wrote a lot of this, I can just copy it, go back to Gemini, and say, rewrite for clarity. Paste it, and it's going to rewrite it, and it will be grammatically correct. Okay. So if I roll down here, it's rewritten it. Now this isn't and it says, hey, here's your improved text. Some of the other things that are kind of cool about this Gemini is that it comes up with, you don't see it, but it's coming up with multiple drafts. And you can actually look at some of the other versions of what it came to, right? So here he has improved draft 1, draft 2, draft 3. And so you can kind of pick and choose what you like and go ahead and edit it. Yes, sir.
How like professor or like your wife went to class and the instructor said, how long is the earth or write something? Each student does it the same thing from each student.
So the question is, if we're in class and the teacher professor asks the same question and all the students use AI or a different AI, right? Will you get the same answer? If it's a science thing that has like kind of generally accepted principles, they're going to get pretty much the same answer. The follow-up question to that is, how do we know our kids are actually learning something? Right? That's always a secret. So you have, or that's the trick, right? It's all still new. so let's talk about college letters, because this is, my son's a senior and AI is kind of at the forefront. How do college what do they call it? Registration people, right? College acceptance people know that it's written by that student or written by AI. They truly don't, but there are keywords that AI uses in the analysis of figuring out if the student wrote it or not. And so while we have things like this, AI helping write things, helping create things, we also have AI analyzing it to see if it was a person or not. It's kind of similar to how we had vinyl records and we can hear all the little imperfections in the music being played versus some of the digital creations of music where there's really no imperfections of the tone or note or keys. If you listen to a vinyl record really closely, you can hear like the squeaking of the guitar string, right? As they move their hand up and down. They clean that up in digital. And so you can kind of tell the difference, right? Sometimes intuitively, sometimes through a computer. We have a question at Milpitas.
Do you have a question, Mr. Mercado?
But anyway, I asked on that question, the greatest pollution.
Yes.
In California, I was just thinking, or maybe it's really too much, or it is a trick question. The answer is some kind of equipment vehicle, right? Electric vehicle, all these things. Why is it not going to the level of people is the cause of pollution?
Oh,
Oh, that's an interesting question. And so if I could drill down on that, right? And I could say, is it because there's too many people, right? Or I mean, the reality is it goes down to, if you say something at cars, it'll say, well, obviously the next step is there's too many people driving cars, right? Or then you can, if you kind of ask it a different question or you ask it a little differently, they say, well, a lack of public transportation that's efficient, right? Or something like that. So you can keep drilling down on the questions to kind of to get the true intent of what your question is, right? The fact that I think if you look at the science magazines, the fact of um, too many cars is the leading cause of pollution, then you can kind of go back and say, why are there too many cars, right? And then you get to different answers. Does that make sense?
Uh, Probably.
It's all in how you form. So let's take
Yeah,
that,
because
right? So
if you go back to the current environment today, oh yes, there is pollution, and if AI says it goes back, check on all information available way back before all this technology, there may be no pollution.
well, let's keep drilling down here. Let's just use your example. Why are cars the leading cause of pollution? Right? Combustion, right? And you can say something like, are there too many people driving? And it'll keep continuing down that conversation. Right? And then it
Okay.
says, and then you can say, why are there too many people doing this? Right?
stop punctuating.
And we can just kind of keep asking the question. Okay.
Okay.
There's many
Right?
different answers.
But just like I just said, right? Lack of public transportation options, right? Urban sprawl, there's too many people, cost too much, right? Whatever. And so you can kind of keep driving down, but they're not going to give you an opinion. They're going to give you what is known.
Yeah. Okay. Understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we can try to make a picture. So I will tell you that Microsoft Copilot does a better job at creating pictures than Gemini does. So and this is why I use a couple of them. Make a picture of, what do we say, an F-16 with Rembrandt and an open Jeep. And we'll see if we can do it. We'll see what their picture looks like. So they're still developing it, but here's their picture. Let's see what it looks like. If you look really closely, it's a likeness of Rembrandt, but it's really not. Let's go back here. So they don't do as good of a job with the depiction of Rembrandt, but you can still create pictures here. Okay. I'm going to do one more thing, right? And we do a separate class on this. So this is just kind of your entry level foray into using AI tools. Again, it's free with Gemini, gemini.google.com. It's free with using the Edge browser, right, with Microsoft Copilot. I'm going to talk about for just 1 second. We do another class on how AI is helping and impacting spam and fake emails. Okay. So we have certain rules that you use to detect whether a email is fake or real. And we have certain kind of steps. You have those on those cards that we've given out at Milpitas as well. But at the same time that hackers are using AI to generate emails, just like I just did, people like Google are also using AI to detect if it's real or fake. Again, it looks through it, it analyzes it. And if you notice, if you have a Gmail account versus a Yahoo account or a SBC or an AT&T account, you'll notice there's a lot fewer spam emails in your inbox in Google Gmail than there is in your Yahoo's or AT&T or PacBell account, right? Because Google, big software company, is using AI to help determine which ones are fake or false. So with all the good things that it has and all the AI has, plus all the potential bad things that can happen, they're using AI to fight the bad stuff as well. Okay, so it's not all one way or the other. We talk about this a lot. Our technology is just a tool, right? And it's up to us to use it for good or bad. A hammer is super helpful, right? It hits nails, builds houses, does other things. It also can smack somebody over the head with it, and that's bad. And so our technology is just a tool, and we just need to make sure that we try to use it for the goodness of ourselves and society. That's my little preach. All right, I'll preach a little bit right there. Right, so tools aren't good or bad. It's just how we want to use them. All right, questions in the room? Anything else? Yes, sir.
How quickly is the data behind AI updated?
So the question is, how quickly is the data updated with the use of AI? Currently, it's anything that's on the internet right now. So if I create something new on the internet, it becomes available. So it's very current. It's as current as it can be. Right? It's as current as information makes public. Helps us think quicker, helps us find things quicker. I see it in the kids these days, right? I feel like their short-term memory is less because they're always getting things quickly. When we all had to study, we had to kind of research and read and research different things. I don't know if it's good or bad. I know in my son, I'd rather see him like be a little more thoughtful. But it also enables those creative people to get more information quickly to be more creative. Anybody else in the room have a question? That's just my opinion, by the way. Question at Milpitas? You got to put yourself off mute.
Okay.
So when we do all this AI, when we use AI in either in Gemini or in Copilot, are these search being tracked down?
Or the search is being tracked.
That's always a great question. You guys heard the question. The reality is everything we do is being tracked. Right? Everything we do. Whether you ask Alexa what the temperature is, whether you search for a great restaurant, whether you search for a book, everything's being tracked. We have a separate class on that too, about how to kind of create more privacy. Google changed the world when they became big or when they created their own company. The secret is the reality is it's difficult, right? Everything we do online is tracked. The question is, what do they use the information for? Okay. I'm not a great fan of Google. I like some of the things they do, but at least I respect the fact that they're not selling our personal information. They put us in cohorts. Like we might be a cohort here. Maybe we like the Giants. Maybe you like wine. Maybe we like technology. That would be a cohort without and selling that cohort to advertisers, but at least they're not giving us them our name and our number and our personal information, right? They have a general idea how old we are. They have a general idea what language we speak. They have a general idea of what we like, and they sell that to advertisers to make more bang for their buck for their advertising dollars. But when you look at some places, and not to pick on Yahoo, but Yahoo Mail, for example, if you use Yahoo Mail in their private terms and conditions for their privacy statement, they say they can actually sell your personal information to other people, right? And so none of us want to read terms and conditions, but it's kind of important to know what they're using our information for. Okay. Microsoft uses it, they collect it, they keep it insulated, they don't sell it to other people regardless. They use it for themselves, right? I'd rather have that than being hit by scammers, spammers, or advertisers, right? But the reality is they're giving us tools to use. They are tracking us. Hopefully none of us are drug dealers or criminals. And so they just kind of put it all together and sell it for advertising dollars. The world runs on advertising. All right. Any other questions from the Barbara Lee Center? We have one more question in here. Yes, sir.
Do you have any recommendation or classes or team for how AI available for to have some information about healthcare? I'm talking about the customer, like we are a patient. So just simple thing, what is available, what is it, how we can use it? And so it is your class or you have some recommendation and we can follow your class and do something good for us.
Yeah. So the question is do we have Anuvis have a class on using AI for healthcare? AI won't give you one of the limitations of AI is on medical recommendations. They won't do that. If you have an echo at home and you say, hey, well, how do I treat I got a headache, what should I take? They generally won't tell you. They say, hey, they'll find out that Tylenol will sometimes help alleviate migraines, but you should go see a doctor, right? If it's debilitating. We have classes personally on things like how to use your health apps, how to use, the tracking devices that we have, whether it's your watch or a pendant. We have classes on things like using technology for fall detection and response. We don't do recommendations on that stuff, but we do have how do we use technology to make ourselves a little healthier, right? Or to be more active or things like that. That's the kind of classes we provide. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? So hopefully this was good. Barbara Lee Center, you guys good? Was this interesting for you all?
Yes.
Great. And then, this is our first time at Burlingame. Make sure you guys get back that you guys want us to come back or get more people. We're doing lots of classes all the time. All our classes, like I said, are free. And you just join. It's no big deal. And you guys get interesting topics. Okay. And we usually get 15, 20, 30 people at those classes. And so it's a nice community that asks questions. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you guys for attending. Thank you guys at Milpitas. And we will talk to you all soon.
Last question.
Oh, wait, we have one more question, Eric. Thank you.
Okay.
So we can go now and go to our computer and download all the application for AI. Yes, it's either from.
Yes, for those applications in AI. So Gemini, you can do it on your phone. I have it on my phone. It's an Android phone. It comes kind of easy with Android. If you have an iPhone, you can download it from the App Store. Or if you have it on a computer, you just go into the browser and just type in gemini.google.com, or you download Edge if you don't have it already.
Also, the Copilot from Microsoft is through Edge.
Yes, but it's also a separate app on your phone.
Yeah.
You can get it on your phone as a separate app. Okay.
Awesome.
All
Thank you,
right.
Eric.
Thank you, guys. We'll talk soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.